It's that time again. So recently I asked you guys on my community tab who you wanted me to make a video about next, and you guys pretty much overwhelmingly chose Hornets Chris Paul. And specifically, I want to talk about whether Chris Paul's request for a trade from the Hornets to LA was the right move for his career, but we'll get to that in just a second. So what's weird to me is that Chris Paul was most likable during his New Orleans tenure, at least to me. He hadn't really picked up so many of the bad habits that a lot of fans grew to dislike in his Clippers years, like flopping excessively and arguing over every single call. But more importantly is that he was really scrappy, which is not an adjective that you usually use to describe Hall of Fame level players. Scrappy is usually a term that we reserve for guys like Patrick Beverley. But Paul was really scrappy and really hungry for a dude that was that talented. And I think what he was able to do early in his career with less than impressive rosters really speaks volumes about his greatness. Now, listen, I like Peja Stojakovic and Trevor Ariza and Emeka Okafor, I guess, but those guys don't really move the needle for you, especially if you're in the Western Conference. So I don't think it's any surprise that Chris Paul didn't have more success during his Hornets days. And I don't want to downplay the success that he did have while he was there. He made the playoffs multiple times. In 2008, he made it to the second round, and his Hornets were actually the second seed. They were the second seed in the West, which is just amazing. He did have teammates that were really good NBA players, recognizable names like David West, who was kind of underappreciated, Tyson Chandler, who was honestly one of the best lob threats of the early 2010s. Like, this guy caught so many lobs from Chris Paul, but what he was able to do with that Hornets team was really impressive in his time there. But his talent back then was really obvious, and something that I think really shines a light on how talented he was, even in his younger years, is the fact that Bill Simmons, and you could say what you want about Bill Simmons, but the man knows basketball, he put Chris Paul in his top 100 players of all time in his book, The Book of Basketball. So, for the record, that book came out in 2009, and Chris Paul had only been in the league for, 4 years at that point? So, I mean, that's an achievement unto itself. Like, this guy who knows basketball really well put a player who was only not even 4 full years into his basketball career in his top 100 players ever. Pretty amazing. What's weird about the Hornets thing is that the Hornets became the Pelicans shortly after Chris Paul was traded. So in the record books, Chris Paul holds all these all-time Pelicans records, even though he never actually played in a Pelicans jersey. So for example, he holds the all-time Pelicans records in total assists, total steals, assists per game, steals per game, win shares, plus minus, VORP. Twitter loves VORP. Oh, they like VORP. And just other advanced analytics too. He has all those Pelicans records, which is pretty insane when he's mostly thought of for his Clippers days. So some of my favorite Chris Paul moments on the Hornets include dunking on Dwight Howard, which sounds like a 2K glitch that you complain about, but like it really happened. And Chris Paul was never thought of a super athletic guy, and he's short, so that just makes it amazing. And this was prime Dwight Howard too. So really just one of the best highlights that I can remember. Also, when he kind of sort of broke Kobe's ankles in the playoffs, he didn't quite break his ankles, but he definitely left him. Had the crowd going. And then that incredible pass he made at the end of that same game that led to a Jarrett Jack playoff game winner of all things. And just placing that much trust in Jarrett Jack in that situation forever makes CP3 a legend in my book. No shade to Jarrett Jack whatsoever. But let me know what you guys, what your favorite Hornets Chris Paul moments were in the comments section. But yeah, closing thoughts on this video. I would have loved to have seen CP3 stay in New Orleans for another year, just to kind of see if there was a possibility of New Orleans still getting the number 1 pick to draft Anthony Davis. I know it's kind of unlikely because Chris Paul being there for longer would have lessened the Hornets' chances of getting that pick, but you never know. It has me salivating to think about it because a CP3 and AD combo in their primes would have been better than Stockton and Malone, and that's my hot take of today. Prime CP3 and AD better than John Stockton and that mustachioed pedophile named Karl Malone. So let me know what you guys think about my hot take in the comments below. Right now, CP3 has found himself in a nice little home on the Thunder, and I like this current Thunder team a lot, but the ceiling on that team is kind of obvious, so it'll be interesting to see if he requests a trade out of there. We'll see what happens, but anyway, thanks for coming on this nostalgic ride with me today, guys. Let me know what your favorite Hornets CP3 memory was. Let me know what you guys think about my CP3 and AD versus Stockton and Malone hot take. Enjoy these videos on your screen right now. I'll be back soon. Let me know in the comments section what you guys want me to talk about next. And until next time, happy gaming, y'all.